Okay guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we've got the E46 in my garage because we're going to do a video on the M54 common misfires and the rough running codes, which are very common across many of these engines, and people don't know where to look when they get the P0 codes and any codes relating to a misfire or lean codes or fuel trim codes. So today what we're going to do is go over the codes on this car and see what causes the misfires and the rough running, and I'm going to show you what to look for on these cars as well to find out what them codes are relating to. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you all the misfire codes. Okay guys, so I don't know if you can see, but the first one will be underneath the vanity cover here. You have your ignition coils. When they go bad, they will cause misfires. They'll also cause rough running, and also your spark plugs. Now usually what happens is when the CCV goes and it starts letting oil through the manifold into the intake system, what starts happening is the spark plugs end up fouling, the ignition coils end up putting more pressure on the spark plug, and because the ignition coils are getting so hot from putting more pressure to burn the excess fuel and the oil, the ignition coils end up going. But they do go as well on their own without the PCV rupturing. So that's going to be your first thing. When they go, you get rough running and you guys will feel it like a shaking through the car. That's usually related to your ignition coil. The next one is going to be your CCV. Now, as you guys know, I've just replaced this on this car. These, when they split or they crack on the hoses, anywhere from here down going down to the oil return pipe, usually they will cause a very rough running code, and when they do, it usually relates to the pipes either being split or the PCV being clogged and sticking, and you need to replace it and get a new one. Like I did on this one, as you saw, it was all split down there. Now, if you see down there now, it's all completely like brand new down there. It's got no issues whatsoever. And like I say, that's only because I've changed it, as you'll see probably down there. I don't know if you guys can see. You can probably see right down there in the system where I replaced it. So that will be another one that causes your misfire codes. So be careful with that, and always check this. If it doesn't look like it's ever been changed, go ahead and change it. The next one's going to be your intake boot, which is right here, which, as you guys know from my video as well, this one was split on the elbow going to the idle control valve. As you guys know, it's a common problem, it ends up splitting, and as you saw, some cowboy had bandaged it all up. The same with like Nathan's E39 now. Many people don't end up replacing it, they just bandage it up because it ends up splitting again and they tell you not to replace it. As you guys have seen now, this has been all renewed. As you guys knew, I got a new February Bilstein one. They're only about £15, which made sense because I was taking it all off anyway. Why not replace it for £15? I don't know why someone bandaged it up, but now it's got a new one and it's good to go. The next one down is going to be the idle control valve. Now when that sticks, that will cause rough running in the car. That will cause your P0 codes, and that will cause your misfires as well. Now, as you guys know, the elbow right down here connects onto the idle control valve. Now that when that sticks, the best way to tell is to take it out, which is very easy to do, and just shake it and see if it's rattling inside. If it's not, and it could be clogged, just spray it out and clean it out before you put it back in the car, because that can cause your rough running as well. The next one will be these vacuum lines right here that run back down to the fuel pressure regulator on the fuel filter. When they go, they can cause your car to hold up rough idle, because as you know, these fuel lines are very crucial for the fuel on these. Same with this brake servo return light for the breather, and the same with the other one underneath the manifold for the canister. As you guys know, there's a lot of vacuum lines on this car and you have to be careful of them. Like I say, you guys know I broke this one when I was taking it off on the T-piece. You guys know the T-piece was broke, I had to replace, get a new one, which I've done. As you can see right there, it's all replaced, which I didn't show you the last time. I have replaced it and it's all back together nicely. The next one's going to be your camshaft sensors down here, which, as you guys know, they all sit here and here. They can cause your misfire codes, and when they do, the car won't start. It'll be hard to start, and then when it starts, it won't want to run properly. They'll cause a lot of misfire codes. Same with your crankshaft sensor, which sits right down there underneath your manifold near your starter. Again, not a job I'd want to do. I'd do that from underneath the car if I had to do that next time. The next one will be your Vanos. Now, if your Vanos seals are gone, you guys know already that that will cause rough running, and obviously that will, your seals will need to be changed, and obviously you'll get very rough running in cold start, and you'll feel like the car's down on power. You don't want that. Obviously this one is fine at the moment. If I have to, I will replace them, but I don't need to. The next one on the list will be the O2 sensors, which is right here, as you'll see here, and they run up, and the same for here as well. On the connectors underneath this vanity cover, they sit underneath here. You guys would have seen when I moved the manifold, they were sitting there and I moved them out of the way. They can cause rough running as well, and if they're not reading them up, the CO2 and the amount of fuel going through in the air, when they do, they cause a lot of codes, and you guys have got to be aware of that. that most people end up thinking it's this and it's that, and it ends up being the O2 sensor. What happens is when the PCV ruptures, they let oil into the combustion chamber. That oil was then thrown down the exhaust and it ends up covering the O2 sensors in soup, and you guys end up with oil all over your O2 sensors and not working properly. That's why if you do have a badly ruptured PCV, I advise you to go and watch my video using the injector cleaner to clean your spark plug holes, because otherwise that's what will happen. Your whole exhaust will be covered in oil. Use that injector cleaner method and it will clear all the oil out. The next one will be the this valve itself. Now, as you guys know, this has been replaced. This is a new one. When that goes, that sticks open and sometimes close, and that will cause rough running as well and rough idling, and it will cause loss of power and loss of torque. That can also cause it because it's vacuum operated, as you guys know. That's meant to go close when you put vacuum over it, and open without vacuum. Now, they do, when they do go, will cause misfire codes and will cause rough running as well. So be sure to check that as well. The next one will be your dipstick. Now, as you can see here, the O-rings on the dipstick. Now, if they're not holding air, it will cause vacuum leak as well from them O-rings not sitting in the dipstick properly and not sitting tight enough. And what they do is they cause a vacuum leak throughout the whole car. And obviously it to run very rough, the same as if the PCV was ruptured, the same as when you take the oil cap off, because what you're doing is letting unmetered air go via, not before the math sensor, so it's having air go into the system and the math ain't reading it, so it'll pick up fault codes. Obviously, as you guys are aware, I've just mentioned the throttle body, but as you guys know as well, it splits all over. You just have to check that, because if you have got rough running codes, that will be the most common culprit on these. Like I say, the next one is usually the PCV. They cause it. O2 sensors, the disser, but as I say, you guys know my disser's already been replaced on this car, so it's not something I have to go and redo on this, but if I did, I would. You guys just need to be careful of all these problems on this M54 engine. Like I say, it does have a lot of bad misfire codes, more than the M52, but in the same sense, they are the same, but they're actually cheaper to fix on this car than they are on the M52, so you've got to factor that in. As I say, the next one to check will be the fuel injectors as well. I mean, if one goes out, that will cause rough running, because obviously it won't be sending fuel to the right cylinder, which then means you'll be misfiring, because the spark plug will just be burning literally nothing. So be careful of that as well. If your fuel injectors are dirty, use an injector cleaner. As I tell you, always maintain them. Like I do, I always use injector cleaner on the injectors, which go straight through the petrol system itself. But you can put them direct through the fuel rail, but to get to that on this car is a complete nightmare, so you don't want to be doing that. Just pull it through the fuel and it does get to them. As I say, Forte works best. The Forte injector cleaner, that's the best one you can use. I'll end up putting a link in my description down below for the Forte injector cleaner on these, but as I say, guys, I've got a link in my video as well on my injector cleaner on the piston rings after a failed CCV. That one's there as well, which is very cheap and it's good as well, good quality. As I say, guys, the majority of the fault codes on this engine are very minor related, and it's all to do with vacuum operated stuff, so it's not really many that do fail, like I say, and when they do, it's very easy to diagnose which one it is, and it's not hard to get to them either. That'll be it, guys. Like I say, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It wasn't really a long video, it was just really to show you the M54 rough running problems, and obviously they've got misfires on these engines and what problems they have on them. Obviously I was meant to do this when I first got this car, but I never done it, so I thought I'd do it now. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.